Chapter 2, The Second Anniversary Unpacking. Saturday 15th, July 2006, North London and Edinburgh. At 6:15 that evening, he pulls down the metal shutters of the Belleville Cafe and snaps the heavy padlock into place. You know what? We read this one last time. We totally already read this. Okay. We're on the last chapter. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, chapter 23. The third anniversary last summer, Sunday 15th, July 2007, Edinburgh. Ring, 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 ring. He is woken by his daughter's index finger pressing his nose as if it were a doorbell. Ring, 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 ring. Who's at the door? Jasmine's at the door. What are you doing, Jazz? I'm waking you up. Ring, ring. Her thumb is in his eye now, pulling back the eyelid. Wake up, lazy bones. What time is it? Daytime. Besides him in the hotel bed, Maddie reaches for her watch. 6:30, she groans into the pillow, and Jasmine laughs malevolently. Dexter opens both eyes and sees her face on the pillow next to him, her nose inches away. Have you got books to read or dolls to play with or something? Nope. Go and color something in, will you? I'm hungry. Can we have room service? What time is the swimming pool open? The Edinburgh Hotel is plush, traditional, and grand, oak panels and porcelain baths. His parents stayed here once for his graduation, and it's a little more old-fashioned and expensive than he would like, but he thought that if they're going to do this, they should do it in some style. They are staying for 2 nights, Dexter, Maddie, and Jasmine, before hiring a car and driving across to a holiday cottage near Loch Lomond. Glasgow is nearer, of course, but Dexter hasn't been to Edinburgh for 15 years, not since a debauched weekend when he presented a TV show from the festival. All of that seems a long, long time ago now, another lifetime. Today he has a fatherly notion that he might show his daughter around the city. Maddie, aware of the date, has decided to leave them to it. You're sure you don't mind? He asks her in the privacy of the bathroom. Of course not. I'll go to the gallery, see that exhibition. I just want to show her some places, memory lane. No reason why you should suffer too. Like I said, I really don't mind. He regards her carefully. And you don't think I'm nuts? She gives a faint smile. No, I don't think you're nuts. You don't think it's ghoulish or weird? Not at all. If she does mind, she certainly isn't showing it. He kisses her lightly on the neck. You must do whatever you want, she says. The notion that it might rain for 40 consecutive days had once seemed far-fetched, but not this year. All over the country it has poured daily for weeks now, high streets disappearing under floodwater, and the summer has seemed so unique that it might almost be a new kind of season. A monsoon season, but as they step out onto the street, the day is still bright with high cloud, dry for the moment at least. They make plans for lunch with Maddie and go their separate ways. The hotel is in the old town, just off the Royal Mile, and Dexter takes Jasmine on the standard atmospheric tour, down alleyways and street stairways, until they find themselves on That's the author's name, right? Oh, okay, it's close. Never mind. Sorry. And so they find themselves on Nicholson Street, heading south out of the city center. He remembers the street is hectic and hazy with bus fumes, but on a Sunday morning it is quiet and a little sad, and Jasmine is starting to get restless and bored now that they have left the tourist trail. Feeling her hand go heavy in his, Dexter keeps on walking. He has found the old address on one of Emma's letters and soon spots a sign, Rankeeler Street. They turn into the quiet residential road. Where are we going? I'm looking for somewhere. Number 17. They are outside now. Dexter peers up at the 3rd floor window, its curtains drawn, blank and nondescript. You see that flat there? That's where Emma used to live when we were at university together. In fact, that's sort of where we met. Jasmine looks up obediently, but there's nothing to distinguish the unremarkable terraced house from those on either side, and Dexter starts to question the wisdom of this expedition. It's indulgent, morbid, and sentimental. What was he expecting to find? There is nothing here that he recalls, and the pleasure gained from nostalgia is slight and futile. For a moment he contemplates abandoning the tour, phoning Maddie and arranging to meet a little earlier, but Jasmine is pointing to the end of the street, the granite escarpment that looms incongruously over the estate below. What's that? It's Salisbury Crags. Leads up to Arthur's Seat. There's people up there. You can climb it. It isn't hard. What do you think? Shall we try? Do you think you can do it? They head for Holyrood Park. Depressingly, his 7.5-year-old daughter clambers up the mountain path with far more energy than her father, pausing only intermittently to turn back and laugh at him, wheezing and sweating below. It's because I've got no grips on my shoes, he protests, and they keep climbing, leaving the main path and clambering over rocks before finally stumbling onto the scrubby rust-colored plateau at the top of Arthur's Seat. There they find the stone column that marks the highest point, and he inspects the scratchings and scribbles, half hoping to see his own initials there. Fight Fascism, Alex M. 5507, Fiona Forever. To distract Jasmine from the looter graffiti, he lifts her up and sits her on the column, one arm round her waist, her legs dangling as he points out the landmarks. That's the castle, near the hotel. There's the station. That's the Firth of Forth, leading out into the North Sea. Norway's over there somewhere. Leith, and that's the new town where I used to live. 20 years ago now, Jazz. Last century. And over there with the tower, that's Calton Hill. We could climb that too if you liked this afternoon. Aren't you too tired? She asked sardonically. Me? You're kidding. I'm a natural athlete. Jasmine wheezes in imitation, one fist clutching at her chest. Comedian. He lifts her off the pillar, hands tucked in her armpits, and makes to throw her off the mountainside before swinging her, screaming and laughing under his arm. They walk a little way from this summit and find a natural hollow nearby that overlooks the city. He lies with his hands behind his head while Jasmine sits beside him, eating salt and vinegar crisps, and drinking her carton of juice with great concentration. The sun is warm on his face, but the early start to the day is starting to take its toll, and within minutes he feels sleep creeping up on him. Did Emma come here too? Asked Jasmine. Dexter opens his eyes and raised himself up to his elbows. She did. We came here together. I've got a photo of us at home. I'll show you, back when Dad was skinny. Jasmine puffs her cheeks out at him, then sets about licking the salt from her fingers. Do you miss her? Who, Emma? Of course, every day. She was my best friend. He nudges her with his elbow. Why, do you? Jasmine frowns as she recalls. I think so. I was only 4. I don't remember her that well, only when I look at pictures. I remember the wedding. She was nice, though, wasn't she? Very nice. So who's your best friend now? He places a hand on the back of his daughter's neck, fitting his thumb into the hollow there. You, of course. Why, who's your best friend? Her forehead creases in serious thought. I think it's probably Phoebe, she says, then sucks on the straw of her empty juice carton so that it gurgles rudely. You can go off people, you know, he says, and she laughs with the straw pinched between her lips. Come here, he growls, making a grab and pulling her backwards so that she lies in the crook of his arm, her head on his shoulder. In a moment she is still, and Dexter closes his eyes once again and feels the warmth of the mid-morning sun on his eyelids. Beautiful day, he mumbles. No rain today, not yet, and once again sleep starts to creep up on him. He can smell the hotel shampoo on Jasmine's hair, feel her breath on his neck, salt and vinegar, slow and regular, as he drifts off into slumber. He is unconscious for perhaps 2 minutes before her bony elbows are jabbing into his chest. Dad, I'm bored. Can we go now, please? Emma and Dexter spent the rest of that afternoon on the hillside laughing and talking, offering up information about themselves, what their parents did, how many siblings they had, telling favorite anecdotes. In the middle of the afternoon, as if by mutual agreement, they both fell asleep, lying chastely in parallel until at 5 Dexter woke with a start, and they gathered together the empty bottles and the remains of the picnic and started to head woozily down the hill towards the city and home. As they approached the park exit, Emma became aware that they would soon be saying goodbye and that there was every chance that they would never see each other again. There might be parties, she supposed, but they both knew a different crowd, and besides, he would be off traveling soon. Even if they did see each other, it would be fleeting and formal, and he would soon forget everything that had happened in that small rented room in the early hours of the morning. As they stumbled down the hill, she began to feel regret creeping up on her, and realized she didn't want him to go yet. A second night. She wanted one more night at least, so that they could finish what they had started. How might she say that? She couldn't, of course. Faint-hearted as usual, she had left it too late. In the future, I'll be braver, she told herself. In the future, I will always speak my mind eloquently, passionately. They were at the park gates now, the place where she should probably say goodbye. She kicked at the gravel footpath and scratched her head. Well, I suppose I'd better... Dexter took her by the hand. So listen, why don't you come for a drink? She instructed her features to show no delight. What now? Or at least walk back with me. Aren't your mom and dad coming round? Not till this evening. It's only 5:30. He was rubbing the knuckle of her forefinger with his thumb. She made a pretense of making a decision. Go on then, she shrugged indifferent, and he let go of her hand and then started walking. As they crossed the railway at North Bridge and passed into the Georgian New Town, a plan was forming in his head. He would get home by 6, immediately call his parents at their hotel and arrange to meet them at the restaurant at 8 rather than at the flat at 6:30. This would give him nearly 2 whole hours. Callum would be with his girlfriend, and they'd have the flat to themselves for 2 whole hours, and he would be able to kiss her again. The high-ceilinged, white-walled rooms were empty save for his suitcases and a few pieces of furniture. The mattress in his bedroom, the old chaise lounge, a couple of dust sheets, and it would look like the set of a Russian play. He knew enough about Emma to know that she would be a sucker for that, and he would almost certainly be able to kiss her, even sober. Whatever happened between them in the future, whatever rows and repercussions loomed, he knew that he very much wanted to kiss her now. The walk would take another 15 minutes. He found himself slightly breathless. They should have got a cab. Perhaps she had the same idea, because they really were walking very fast as they headed down the steep incline of Dundas Street, their elbows occasionally brushing against each other, the Forth hazy in the distance. After all these years, she was still elated by the sight of the Iron River and between the terraces of fine Georgian houses. I might have known you'd live round here, she said, disapproving but envious, and as she spoke she found herself short of breath. She was going back to his well-appointed flat. They were going to do it, and she was embarrassed to find her neck flushing pink in anticipation. She ran her tongue over her teeth, attempting an ineffectual polish. Did she need to brush her teeth? Champagne always made her breath smell. Should they stop for chewing gum? Or condoms? Would Dexter have condoms? Of course he would. It was like asking if he had shoes. But should she brush her teeth, or should she just throw herself at him as the door closed? She tried to recall what underwear she was wearing, then remembered that it was her special mountain climbing underwear. Too late to worry about that. They had turned into Fett's Row. Not far now, he said, and smiled, and she smiled too, and laughed, reaching for his hand, acknowledging what was about to happen. They were almost running now. He said he lived at number 35, and she found herself counting down in her head. 75, 73, 71, nearly there. Her chest was tightening. She felt sick. 47, 45, 43. There was a stitch in her side and an electric tingle in her fingertips, and now he was pulling on her hand, and they were both laughing as they ran down the street. A car horn blared. Ignore it. Keep going. Whatever happens, do not stop. But a woman's voice was calling, Dexter! Dexter! And all the hope fell out of her. It felt like running into a wall. Dexter's father's Jaguar was parked opposite number 35, and his mother was stepping from the car and waving at him from across the street. He had never imagined that he could be less pleased to see his parents. There you are! We've been waiting for you! Emma noticed how Dexter dropped her hand, almost throwing it away from him as he crossed the street, and embraced his mother. With a further spasm of irritation, she noticed that Mrs. Mayhew was extremely beautiful and stylishly dressed. The father less so, a tall, somber, disheveled man, clearly unhappy to have been kept waiting. The mother met Emma's eyes over her son's shoulder and gave an indulgent, consolatory smile, almost as if she knew. It was the look a duchess might give, finding her errant son kissing the housemaid. After that, things happened faster than Dexter would have liked. Remembering the faked phone call, he realized that he was bound to be caught in a lie, unless he had got them into the flat as quickly as possible. But his father was asking about parking, his mother wondering where he had been all day, and why he hadn't called, while Emma stood a little way off to one side, still the housemaid, differential and I can never say that. Okay, wondering how soon she could accept defeat and head home. Oh, I thought we told you we'd be coming here at 6. 6:30, actually. I left a message this morning on your machine. Mom, Dad, this is my friend Emma. Are you sure that I can park here? Said his father. Pleased to meet you, Emma. Allison, you've caught the sun. Where have you two been all day? Because if I get a parking ticket, Dexter. Dexter turned to Emma, eyes blazing in apology. So do you want to come in for a drink? Or dinner, said Allison. Why don't you join us for dinner? Emma glanced at Dexter, who seemed wild-eyed with what she took to be shock at the idea, or was it encouragement? Either way, she would say no. These people seemed nice enough, but it wasn't what she wanted, gate-crashing someone else's family occasion. They would be going somewhere swanky, and she looked like a lumberjack, and besides, really, what was the point? Sitting there gazing at Dexter while they asked her what her parents did for a living, where she went to school. Already she could feel herself shrinking from this family's brash self-confidence, their showy affection for each other, their money and style and grace. She would become shy, or worse, drunk, and neither would help her chances. Best give up. She managed to smile. Actually, I better head back. Are you sure? Said Dexter, frowning now. Yes, stuff to do. You go on. I'll see you around, maybe. Oh, okay, he said, disappointed. If she had wanted to come in, she could have, but see you around, maybe. He wondered if perhaps she wasn't that bothered about him after all. There was a silence. His father wandered off to peer at the parking meter once more. Emma raised her hand. Bye, then. See you. She turned to Allison. Nice to meet you. And you, Emily. Emma. Of course, Emma. Goodbye, Emma. And she shrugged towards Dexter while his mother spectated. Well, have a nice life, I suppose. And you, have a nice life. She turned and started to walk away. The Mayhew family watched her go. Dexter, I'm sorry. Did we interrupt something? No, not at all. Emma's just a friend. Smiling to herself, Allison Mayhew regarded her handsome son intently, then reached out and took the lapels of his suit in both hands, tugging them gently to settle the jacket on his shoulders. Dexter, weren't you wearing this yesterday? And so Emma Morley walked home in the evening light, trailing her disappointment behind her. The day was cooling off now, and she shivered as she felt something in the air, an unexpected shudder of anxiety that ran the length of her spine, and was so intense as to make her stop walking for a moment. Fear of the future, she thought. She found herself at the imposing junction of George Street and Hanover Street, as all around her people hurried home from work, or out to meet friends or lovers, all with a sense of purpose and direction. And here she was, 22, and clueless, and sloping back to a dingy flat, defeated once again. What are you going to do with your life? In one way or another, it seemed that people had been asking her this forever. Teachers, her parents, friends at 3 a.m, but the question had never seemed this pressing, and still she was no nearer an answer. The future rose up ahead of her, a succession of empty days, each more daunting and unknowable than the one before her. How would she ever fill them all? She began walking again, south towards the mound. Live each day as if it's your last. That was the conventional advice, but really, who had the energy for that? What if it rained or you felt a bit glandy? It just wasn't practical. Better by far to simply try and be good and courageous and bold to make a difference. Not change the world exactly, but the bit around you. Go out there with your passion and your electric typewriter and work hard at something. Change lives through art, maybe. Cherish your friends. Stay true to your principles. Live passionately and fully and well. Experience new things. Love and be loved, if you ever get the chance. That was her general theory. Even if she hadn't made a very good start of it, with little more than a shrug, she had said goodbye to someone she really liked, the first boy she had ever really cared for. And now she would have to accept the fact that she would probably never see him again. She had no phone number, no address, and even if she did, what was the point? He hadn't asked for her number either, and she was too proud to be just another moony girl, leaving unwanted messages. Have a nice life had been her last line. Was that really the best she could come up with? She walked on. The castle was just coming into view when she heard the footsteps, the soles of smart shoes slapping hard onto the pavement behind. And even before she heard her name and turned, she was smiling, because she knew that it would be him. "I thought I'd lost you," he said, slowing to a walk, red-faced and breathless, attempting to regain some nonchalance. "No, I'm here. Sorry about that. No, really, it's fine." He stood with his hands on his knees, catching his breath. "I wasn't expecting my parents till later, and then they turned up out of the blue, and I got distracted, and I suddenly realized, bear with me, I realized I didn't have any way to get in touch with you." "Oh, okay. So, look, I don't have a pen. Do you have a pen? You must have." She crouched and rooted in her rucksack amongst the litter of their picnic. "Find a pen, please. Have a pen. You must have a pen." "Hurrah, pen!" "Hurrah? You shouted hurrah, you idiot. Stay calm, don't blow it now." She rooted in her wallet for a scrap of paper, found a supermarket receipt, and handed it over, then dictated her parents' number in Leeds, their address, and her own address in Edinburgh, with special emphasis on the correct postcode, and in return he wrote down his. "This is me." He handed her the precious scrap of paper. "Call me or I'll call you, but one of us will call, yes? What I mean is it's not a competition. You don't lose if you phone first." "I understand. I'm away in France until August, but then I'm back, and I thought you might want to come down and stay, maybe." "Stay with you?" "Not forever, for a weekend at mine. My parents, I mean. Only if you want to." "Oh, okay, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. So, I should get back. Are you sure you don't want to come for a drink or something, or dinner?" "I don't think I should," she said. "No, I don't think you should either." He looked relieved, and she felt slighted once again. Why not, she thought. Was he embarrassed by her? "Oh, right. Why's that?" "Because I think if you did, I'd go a bit mad. With frustration, I mean, you sitting there. Because I wouldn't be able to do what I want to do." "Why, what do you want to do?" she asked, though she knew the answer. He put one hand lightly on the back of her neck, and simultaneously she placed one hand lightly on his hip. And they kissed in the street as all around them people hurried home in the summer light, and it was the sweetest kiss that either of them would ever know. This is where it all begins. Everything starts here, today. And then it was over. "So I'll see you around," he said, walking slowly backwards away from her. "I hope so," she smiled. "And I hope so too. Bye, Em. Bye, Dex. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye." The end. Thanks for listening. Do I want to read the other comments? Okay. Anyway, the end. That was a really good one. We're done. Oscar probably listened to every chapter. I'm so glad somebody enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, I really like the end. Okay. Yeah, if you missed it, it's really sad. You gotta go back and listen to the other ones. Hi, Tyler. How are you? What time is it? All right. Let me just see, because I haven't even looked yet. Oh my gosh. I don't even care. All right. So, already moving on to our next book, because I've been so excited to read this. Yeah, it's a messed up story. Yeah. It's like My Sister's Keeper. That's like what it reminds me of. Not in any, because they share any similarities, but it's just like they finally get through all the hardships, and then just unexpected death. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a great day. I'm so glad. That's amazing. I've had a pretty solid day too, I'm not gonna lie. It's been like a lazy day, but I don't know. This is so dumb. It's not dumb if you have it, but it just adds on to the debilitating stuff that I have. But I realize I have narcolepsy. So that's cool. But it's fine. We cope. I have amazing bosses. So the Christmas tree, yay! I mean, yeah, it's not even all Christmas ornaments. It's like candy stuff on there. There's like cupcakes and donuts and lollipops and candies, and it's just fun. Plus, it's like it's the only thing on right now, except look at this tiny pineapple lamp. I love it. Okay. Anyway, wait, what? Oh, what did I say before the Christmas tree thing? Narcolepsy. I have, I need to do a sleep study so I can actually get it on paper that I have it, but it's basically that I was talking with my absolutely darling coworker. I love her. And she was telling me about a sleep study she did, and she's basically like describing what narcolepsy is, like her experience having it. And I was like, that's what I do. I do that. And I just thought it was like everyone has that. Not narcolepsy. I thought everyone like it only started being like concerning when it was like I'm not sitting still. Like I'm mid typing an email with a thought process and I'm actively doing something, right? Or I'm driving, or I'm, like full focus on something, or I'm walking, or literally like I'll start dozing off. That's when it got really concerning, because I was like, wait, why though? Because like I am fully awake right now, and it's like it's so interesting, and we were talking about it because same for her, and it's very concerning when you're driving, especially. But it's like I knew what I was gonna type, and then I literally am typing, and then I catch myself like, what, like I just woke myself up. Anyway, I had that back in grade school. Ugh. Yeah, but I've never really. I mean, it's a daily thing for me. I've never really had it that frequently or this like heavily, where it's like I genuinely have no control. Like when I'm driving and it happens, I'm like, it's scary. Like I'm like, okay, 10 more minutes, and I like get up on the wheel and I like, or I start like blasting music that I can like sing to really loud and like keep myself awake. But it's hard. And then she said that a sign of narcolepsy is that like within minutes. Why is my phone not charging? Y'all, I don't want you to die on me. Sorry. Hilarious that the charger now doesn't work all of a sudden. Oh, that's scary. I don't want y'all to die. Okay, it's fine. I need to get a new charger. She said within a few minutes, like, if you're able to go into REM or something, it's like that type of sleep, that's a sign you have narcolepsy. And I was like, when I take my 10-minute, 15-minute desk naps at work, like I like lay on my desk, I fall asleep and I dream every time. I have a dream every time. And I was like, if that means the REM thing, I think, yeah. But the thing is, if I just, like, thank goodness my boss is okay with it, because if I just go ahead and lay down for 10-15 minutes, it will be more time efficient, because I will, like, wake up alert and fully awake, and my eyes won't be heavy anymore. So, like, I'm just like, okay, I guess it's nap time, dang. So, and it's genuinely, it does feel like what a power nap sounds like, but it's just wild. And now I'm just like, it sounds like I'm just lazy. but I did have like a lazy day because my body was really tired, I guess. But it was a good day. I still, like, my bosses, I think, are okay with it. Like, we talked about it because they're like, we can tell you're still getting your work done. Like, you're keeping up with your workload, and like, you even have margin to take on more work. You're doing so fine. So like, if it means you have to log in at like 8 p.m. and catch up on work because you couldn't the whole day, that was mostly based on my sciatica that I've been dealing with, but I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to the narcolepsy too, because they know I take naps and they're fine with it. Like, when I really need something, I use my lunch and take an hour-long nap in my car. Those hit, dude. I fall asleep so hard, and then I wake up and I eat lunch and I feel great. I don't know. I mean, I eat lunch while I work, which I already did anyway. Sitting at my desk and not working but eating lunch feels weird. So anyway, that's my little new developments, I guess. It was a good day though. I'm glad you had a good day. And this weekend was good too. I saw the new Marvel movie. I would say don't waste your money. Thunderbolts. It's fine. Like, I think the characters were cool. I don't know. I didn't really, like, follow a lot of it, and then there were, like, some details that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but, like, about mental health, which was like, okay, but, the end was so, like, inconclusive and, like, anticlimactic and, like, so y'all let me know once it comes to Disney Plus and you watch it. But okay, new book. I'm just gonna go ahead and start it so I can get off at a good time. But I've been so excited about this. I got it for Christmas, and we already read the first one. If you guys hung out with me while I was while I was reading the first one, now we're reading the second one. So the second to The Wind in the Willows is The Willows in Winter. I'm pumped. Is that backwards for y'all like it is for me? Whatever, just take my word for it. Willows in Winter, chapter 1. Into the blizzard. Get ready. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay. I get so into the, all the little different characters. Okay, here we go. I need to take this off. I'm sorry, it's gonna kill me. All right. Thank you for the hearts, by the way. That's really nice. I need to make some mods. I need some mods, I feel like. I already have some in mind, so you'll know if you're a candidate. I don't freaking know. All right, bye. Here we go. Chapter 1, Into the Blizzard. The mole sat toasting his toes in front of the fire. The winter wind howled safely outside, sending occasional flurries of soot down his chimney. He was thinking that things were nearly perfect, but not quite. I must not be uncharitable, he said to himself, though a slight and uncharacteristic frown showed he was finding it difficult not to be. I have my health, I have my home, and I must not be unfriendly. He darted a glance across the hearth towards the smaller and less comfortable chair that was ranged there, looked briefly at the cause of his ill temper, and looked away again. No, I must be patient. My heart must be compassionate. I must put up with it. I must, oh bother. The wind blew suddenly more violently all round the outside of his house, which was snug among the roots of a fallen old oak tree, and doors rattled, and an ember of the beech log that was burning brightly on his fire cracked and shot onto his rug and smoldered there. Don't worry, said the unwelcome guest. Unwelcome? Who is it? who sat in the chair opposite. "I'll move it." "I can do it myself, thank you very much," retorted the mole in a grumbly way, quite unlike his normal good-natured self. Oh, drat." He shook his paw in momentary pain at the heat as he sought to pick up the ember and put it back where it belonged. "Would you like a—" "No, I wouldn't," declared the mole vehemently. I would like, But he could not bring himself to say what he would like, which was to be left alone and snug in his cozy home, free to potter through the winter evening, free to make himself a warming drink, or not, as the case might be, but certainly free not to have to think about someone else. Free not just for this evening, but for every evening to come. Oh, how distant those days seemed when he had been alone in his home, and happy, how far off those wonderful days. Oh yes, winter had come into his life now, all right, but it had nothing to do with the snow and sleet that drove against his front door, and the droughts that worried at his paws when he went the short distance between the fireside of his parlor and his soft bed. Winter? Such matters as mere cold and ice, violent wind, and driving snow were as nothing compared to the bitter loss of his privacy since he had turned up. Mole scowled at the floor and at the little burn mark the ember had made in the rug, and did his best yet again to tell himself that really he was an uncharitable mole and deserved none of the many good things life had brought him, if he could not show a little tolerance for a few more months, groaned the mole. The longest months of the year! That's how long he's going to be here! How can I turn him out in this weather? And yet there's absolutely nothing wrong with him at all. Nothing! It's me that's to blame. I should have sent him packing while I still could. Are you all right, Uncle? Oh, super wrong voice. Are you all right, Uncle? Asked his most unwelcome guest. You look gloomy to me. Well, I'm not, said the mole ungratefully. Well, you look it. There was a sudden flurry of sleety snow at the door and a chill blast of air across the room. The fallen oak tree, which was the support and strength of Mole's home, shook and stressed, and both the mole and his guest looked up at the ceiling in alarm and at the sideboard on which plates and cups rattled and shook. Haven't you got something better to do than talk? Grumbled poor Mole. Nothing better than talking, especially on a night like this, said his nephew, leaning forward and expectantly. Then, since Mole was not forthcoming and thinking to encourage him to talk, the youngster continued after a pause. Might you, a winter night like tonight, when most creatures are too weak and frightened to go out, wouldn't worry you. Nothing scares you, I know that. Why, you could walk miles across the wild wood itself in the dark and blizzard winds and still save a creature who is in peril if you had to. How many times do I have to tell you I'm not the mole you think I am? Snapped Mole in exasperation. The last thing I or any sensible creature would do is to go wandering off into the wild wood tonight. I really am not the brave, bold mole you seem to have heard about. I am just an ordinary mole, and it makes me very cross when you keep suggesting that I am anything other than... But, Uncle, I know you are not an ordinary mole. Water Rat told me you are the bravest, cleverest, boldest mole he had ever met in his life. Mr. Toad declared that if there was one living creature he would want at his side in a time of crisis, it was you. And even Mr. Badger, and everyone knows how wise he is, said, and I quote, There's only one mole, and no one is braver and bolder and better than he, so it's no good being modest, Uncle. The mole, who had the good grace to feel just a little flattered, though in his heart he felt that all these compliments were undeserved, wiggled his toes at the flames, and thought that perhaps after all he ought to try to make the best of things. Well, I suppose if you have nothing else to do, you could make me a nice hot sloe and blackberry drink, he muttered. No sooner was it said than his young nephew was up and at it with that busy, clumsy, exasperatingly energetic way he had, clattering about in the kitchen, rattling at the hob, and worst of all, humming happily to himself. The mole frowned again, scowled, and then finally smiled. He stared at the flames and felt his nose all cozy and warm. He rested his paws on the arms of his comfortable chair. Brave? Not he. Bold? No, not really. Better? No, not so. But as for Ratty, he said over his shoulder, now there is a brave animal. What did you say, Uncle? I said Ratty is a brave animal, replied the mole, half turning to look behind him. And Mr. Badger too? Yes, certainly Badger's brave, as well as wise, that's quite certain. And Mr. Toad, he's brave. Mole laughed. Toad brave? That's not a word I'd use about old Toad. Bold, certainly, foolish, definitely, vain, absolutely, but never brave. But you like him, don't you? Said his nephew softly, placing the warm winter drink within comfortable reach, together with a slice of warmed bread and butter, and pudding dripping with melted butter. I really shouldn't, said the mole, taking it anyway, sniffing at it appreciatively, sighing, and then eating a mouthful. No, liking Toad doesn't come into it at all. Toad is, that's the thing about Toad, just as the trees are, and the river in summer, and the winter. Toad may be the most exasperating creature who ever lived, or ever will live, even more exasperating than you, if I may say so. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, sitting here in the safety of my home with the fire burning bright and only memories to disturb our peace and quiet, and with the prospect of a good and deep night's sleep before us, after all that, I must say that without Toad, there would be nothing much to live for at all. Mole took a sip of his drink and another bite of his pudding and stared ruminatively at the fire. His nephew studied him uncertainly. He so wanted Mole to talk and tell him of those days when he and Water Rat and Toad and Badger had had adventures along the river and in the wild wood. Indeed, it was for this that he had first made the long journey from the wild wood to find his famous uncle and stay with him for a while. The mole had experienced mixed emotions that day in autumn when the young mole had come knocking at his door and told him who he was and how his father, the mole's wastrel and ne'er-do-well brother, had passed on, leaving his son with nothing and nobody to care for him. How far the youngster had traveled and what dangers he had survived, Mole was never able to find out, for they were things his nephew did not talk about. But nothing had warmed his good heart more than to see the look of relief on the youngster's face when he had asked him in, fed him, listened to his brief and sorry tale, and said those fatal words, "Well then, since you're family, you can stay here as long as you want." If only he had said till next Friday morning, or something like that. For as long as you want soon feels like a life sentence to a bachelor like Mole, unused to sharing his home with another for more than an evening at a time. Sure enough, the mole had soon tired of his nephew, and rapidly found that his constant good cheer and enthusiasm to see and do far too many things were vexing in the extreme. So, too good, too weak perhaps, to tell him to leave, the mole had sent him off to stay with the water rat for a time, and learn what he could of the river. "He will not want to come back to me after he's seen the excitements of the river," said the mole, "but he had come back. I'll send him to Toad. All that comfort and style will soon make him forget my humble home." But he didn't last a week at Toad Hall before he was back once more. Oh dear, Mole confided in the rat as autumn deepened and winter set in. "I know I ought to tell him that there's no room enough for two of us, but you see, Ratty, I have a sneaking admiration for him, and the way he made his way here from the wild..." Oh, I cannot. Oh. Sorry. "I know I ought to tell him that there's not room enough for two of us, but you see, Ratty, I have a sneaking admiration for him, the way he made his way here from the wide world. Well, and if you had known my brother, who is as weak and hopeless a case as could be, it doesn't seem possible for him to have produced such a resourceful son. But he has, and now... "Now he's ensconced with you, my dear chap, and you don't like it," said the rat sympathetically. "Nor would I." "Wouldn't you?" said the mole, a little cheered by this. "Of course I wouldn't. No one who lives alone and likes his own company for a good bit of the time. Company's fine only if you can escape it when you need to. You know that, I know that, but the young don't always appreciate it." "What can I do?" the mole wondered. "I know what to do. Oh, I know what I would do. Tell him to leave. Post haste and no hard feelings. But we all know that you're not me. Mole, that's your charm, that's your quality. You are kind and good and soft-hearted and..." "No, Ratty, don't say such things, really, I mean it. Just tell me what to do." "Send him to Badger. I'll be seeing Badger in the next day or two, and I'll tell him about your problem. He's the wisest creature living, and he's sure to know what to do." The mole had done so, confident with what the water rat's... confident that with the water rat's support, reinforced by the very frank sealed note he sent with his young charge, the badger would know exactly how to tell his nephew that enough was enough and he should now be on his way. But he had come back, and neither the rat nor Toad nor the badger himself would talk about the matter thereafter, except to say useless things like, "It will sort itself out." It was almost as if they had conspired not to help him, which, if it were so, he could not understand at all. No wonder then that the mole had suffered the coming of winter, and with it the chance of his guest leaving dwindling each day, with a gloomy heart. No wonder that he had become fractious and irritable. The mole took another sip or two of his delicious drink, the more delicious because somebody else had made it for him, and munched pleasurably at the bread and butter pudding. Was life so bad after all? Perhaps not. Perhaps he could learn to put up with things and make the best of the winter visit. Perhaps it would even do him good. He stared into the fire, thinking of his friends and feeling suddenly content. His stomach was warm inside and out, his head just a little dizzy, his thoughts drifting into the memories his nephew had so wanted him to talk about. "Oh well," he said finally to himself, "and why not?" Then in a warmer voice than he had used for days, and one that held all his engaging modesty and self-doubt, he began. "Did I ever tell you?" His nephew relaxed, and though the mole did not see it, there came to his face a look of such affection, such admiration, such happiness to be in the company of this mole of all moles, that his eyes and his nose shone brightly as the fire itself. He leaned forward, hardly daring to breathe, trying his best to be barely noticeable at all. His uncle was going to talk after all, and so the mole might have done, but had not there been a sudden, though weak, rat-tat-tat at the door, hardly loud enough to be heard over the wind's roar. Indeed, the mole doubted that he had heard it. "Just a branch, that's all. Or a fall of icy snow. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, I was about to tell you. Rat-tat-tat. It was a little more urgent this time." "There is someone at the door," said the mole, glowering. "Or something." "Something?" said his nephew in a thin voice. The mole nodded and said firmly, "Whatever it is, I'm not opening the door for it. No one sensible goes out on a night like this. Not a creature with good intent, that's for sure. It can rat-tat-tat all night long for all I care. I will not open that door." Rat-tat-tat, but more weakly now, and the mole quite put off his stride where storytelling was concerned. There's a smudge on my book. But more weakly now, and the mole quite put off his stride where storytelling was concerned. Something at the door, glared at the door. The wind positively howled down the chimney. Somewhere in the wood nearby, a branch fell to the ground. Then, despite all the noise and din, there came through the door, or perhaps from under it, a soft and pathetic cry. Hopeless, helpless, forlorn, and lost. The cry of one who had journeyed long through the night, overcome every obstacle, and now, reaching at last the only place of help and succor it knew, found no one at home. Mole's nephew rose to his feet, finding it quite impossible not to respond to that tragic call, but the mole responded quicker. He who had been grumpy, then sleepy, then comfortable, and then most reluctant to be interrupted as he began to talk, he became a different mole. A mole in charge. "No," he commanded. "Leave this to me. I'm not saying it is, mind, but it may be a trick, a way of getting us to open the door. On the other hand, it may be a creature in distress. Whatever it is, take this and be ready to use it if you must. Don't flinch, don't hesitate. Be bold." Nephew was amazed at this transformation in his uncle, still more so when he dived into a shadowy place between the dresser and the wall and produced a solid-looking cudgel. "A present from Ratty years ago, just in case. Not my kind of thing, but it will have to do. So stand there, be ready," and as a further cry, weaker still, came from under the door, the mole slowly opened it, while his nephew stood at his flank, cudgel at the ready, but no great beast or monster loomed there, ready to do mischief. No fiend from out of the night. Only the sad little huddle of a half-grown otter, his eyes wide and full of tears. "It's Portly, Otter's son," said the mole in surprise. "My dear fellow, come, you must. But Portly was too cold, too shaken, too frightened to move, and it did not help that Mole's nephew still brandished his cudgel. "Put it away!" cried the Mole as he went down to the little fellow on the ground. "Why, you're cut and bruised, your paws are all bleeding, and only something very serious indeed would have brought you across the river tonight." Then, half carrying him across the threshold and closing the door against the wind, they led Portly to the fire and sat him down in Mole's armchair. "Now tell me what's happened," said the Mole. Portly's teeth chattered, his paws shook, his fur steamed, his eyes stared wildly about. "Try and tell us." We," was all Portly could say, his whole body shaking. "You're safe with me," said the Mole soothingly, "and you can take as long as you like." He looked over his shoulder and saw that his nephew had already poured a tot of the sloe and blackberry drink and was getting some food together. When he brought it over, Portly stared at it as if he had never seen food or drink before. He drank and he chewed, he shivered and he sobbed. Then he stopped sobbing and gulped down some more sloe and blackberry drink, and guzzled at the bread and butter pudding, nodding when he was offered more and eating it all up in no time at all, with his whiskers all spattered with butter. "It was such a long way coming here," he said at last, and most pathetically. "But what's happened?" asked the Mole once more, but Portly started sobbing again, only stopping when he was given a third helping of the pudding, and offered a fourth tot of the potent brew, which meant that he had had far more than a youngster should. "It was a very long way, which went on and on," he said suddenly, beginning to calm down. "You poor fellow," said the Mole, "it must have been hard. Now, is there any more?" asked Portly. "Well, my dear chap, I think you had better tell us how you come to be here before—" All he said was, "I think Mole—" Portly's voice faded away and his eyes went round in little circles, and he smiled beatifically. "I think Mole what?" asked the frustrated Mole. "Please try and tell us, Portly, for it's sure to be important." "Portly! Portly!" But Portly, his snout and ears now quite pink from the fire, his stomach tubby with the pudding, and his snout squiffy with far too much sloe and blackberry, was sliding toward sleep. "Yes, Mole," he said blissfully. "It was very cold out there, very cold. But here," he yawned and stretched ominously slowly, yawning even more as he did so, and began to curl his back paws round one way and his head and front paws the other, as only otters can when they are preparing for a very long sleep indeed. "Who told you to come?" the Mole almost shouted. "Rat did, because he said he must. He was going, my fa—" But whatever the rat had said, Portly was not now going to be able to report, because with a final weak yawn and a little shiver and a smile on his face, he fell into a sleep so deep that nothing the Mole said or did could wake him up. "What are we going to do?" asked Mole's nephew. "Do," said the Mole with a look of determination and resolve on his face. "Do. We are going to do something, of course, or rather I am. You are going to stay here and wait till this wretched and unreliable animal wakes up. Then, if it's not too late, we can find out what he was meant to tell us. Meanwhile, I know what I must do." The Mole went to the peg behind his front door and took down his warmest, longest, snuggest coat and a warm, long, snug scarf to match and put them on. "Uncle!" Then the Mole pulled on his galoshes, frowned, and took up the cudgel and slipped it through the stout belt he had buckled round his waist to keep the coat tight against the wind. "If you're going out, Uncle, But the Mole was silent with determination and deaf to all entreaties not to go. He wrapped up what little of the bread and butter pudding was left in some greaseproof paper and popped it in his coat pocket. Then he took down the storm lantern that hung by the door, lit it, closed the shutter to the tiniest crack, and checked he had all he needed. Finally, when he was ready, he took one last look around his comfortable, warm home, shook his head with a look of regret, and opened the front door. "Where are you going?" "To Rats," he said. "Where else? Something's badly wrong, and I must go and find out what it is, since Portly is unable to tell us." "But the weather! Couldn't you wait till the morning?" "Wait? Wait? Would Rat wait till the morning, as you blithely put it? If you came tottering in and said, 'Mole sent me,' he would not, nephew. Would Badger? Of course not, even in the winter when we all like to stay snug in our homes. Would Mr. Toad?" "Well, he might, especially in winter," faltered his nephew. Yes, well, he might, conceded the mole. On the other hand, he might not. No, if any of my friends thought I was in trouble, they would forsake all comfort and sleep and rush to my side to see what they could do. So shall I now rush to Rats, and if it's not him who's in trouble but Otter, then two's better than one in an emergency. But with that, he pulled the door open, only to have the violent wind blast it open still more, sending him reeling backwards. Nothing daunted, he drew his cudgel and cried out in a loud voice, "To Rats!" With that, he battled his way out into the blizzard and the pitch-black night. "But," said his nephew, staring after him with a mixture of astonishment, awe, and familial pride. "But, Uncle!" But his uncle, the renowned hero Mole, known up and down the river and far beyond, had gone. "Close the door, there's a draught," mumbled Portly from the fireside, curling up even more irrevocably in Mole's armchair and beginning to snore. The mole was almost deafened by the blast of wind about him in the wood and blinded by the stinging snow that drove into his face. To make matters worse, the snow was getting deeper all the time, so that it was a struggle getting his galoshes in and out of it, and harder still to make out the path ahead. The trees swayed and creaked about him in the night, and if the wind was not trying to rip his coat off his back, the brambles and branches were, grasping and clutching and scratching him as he struggled on. And it was dark, dreadfully dark. His storm lantern was at least some help, for it cast a useful beam of light ahead and enabled him to avoid veering too much off the path. "I will not give up," he muttered to himself, pulling his belt tighter, hunching his head lower, pushing his feet harder, and gripping the lantern even more firmly. "If it's not Rat himself who's in trouble, then it's Otter. What else could Portly's words have meant? Either way, Rat will need help." With bold, brave words such as these, the mole kept himself going, grateful for being able to make out the old oak tree and the rabbit warren, which he recognized as being on the way to Rat's house. He sheltered for a short time near the rabbit warren and even shouted down to see if anyone was about. But, of course, rabbits can never be relied on, especially when they are most needed, and there was no reply. Out of the wind, away from the driving snow, he felt his will to go on weakening rapidly, and if it had been any other animal than his dear friend Rat, who he felt needed him, he might have taken heed of his nephew's advice and sheltered till daylight in the hope that the blizzard might abate. "I must go on, and I shall," he cried out suddenly, charging out into the blizzard once more and battling on. It was only much later, when the dark of night had grown darker still, and the blizzard even more bitter, that a horrible thought occurred to the mole, stopping him dead in his tracks, or rather in his disappearing tracks, for peering behind him through the murk, he saw that the snow was now settling so fast that tracks made but moments before had all but gone. The horrible thought, which would surely have been obvious to a practical animal like the rat, was this. Rat's house was on the far side of the river, so how was he going to get over to it? The bridge was a long way off, and of course Rat's boat was on the far side of the river too. The answer was that he had no answer, but having got so far, he decided to press on all the same, convinced that it was what the rat himself would have done. "A solution will come to me," he told himself. So it was that, feeling more dead than alive, and with his face fur all iced up and his whiskers clogged with snow, the mole arrived at the riverbank. He peered out across the river itself, and though he could not see across to where the rat lived, in the lurid light of the night, he was astonished to see that the river seemed all frozen over. It was smooth and white, where snow had settled on the ice. "Perhaps if I called to Rat, he might hear," said the mole to himself, though without much hope. "Rat! Ratty! Oh, Rat, please hear me!" He called out as loudly as he could, holding up his lantern as he did so, and waving it about. But the wind rushed and roared around him even more, and snatched his weak words away the moment they were uttered, and scattered them as wildly and uselessly as if they were flakes of snow. Even worse, the light of the lantern began to gutter, and then quite suddenly an extra strong gust of wind blew it out. "Well then," said the daunted but resolute mole, putting the spent lantern on the ground, "there's nothing else for it. Frozen rivers or dangerous things No doubt, but I must try to cross despite the dangers. He peered out into the night again, trying to establish if the river was frozen all the way across. I could venture out a little way, he thought. And then I could see the dangers ahead better. Yes, that's what I shall do. But no sooner had he scrambled down the bank. Oh, such a gentle, blissful place in summer, but so graspy and slidey and difficult now, and put his front paws on the ice, then another horrible thought occurred to him. He turned round, clambered back up the bank to a sheltered spot among the surface roots of one of the willows, and scratched his head. I must be prudent. I must think of others. It is possible that in trying to cross the river I shall not return. I must therefore leave my affairs in order and write a message, so that those who come after me will know what my intentions were. So that, oh dear, oh my! The mole suddenly felt very alone indeed, and tears came to his eyes and rolled down his face, where they began to freeze in his already frozen fur. I don't have much to leave behind, he said, but what I have I like, and I would take comfort as I slip away. He could not bring himself to use a more precise expression. To know that my worldly goods and possessions are not only in good hands, but in the right hands. He had no paper in his pockets, except for the grease-proof paper around the pudding, and that was no good. So finding a suitably large surface root of a willow tree, he did his best in the darkness to scratch a last message for his friends. It took him some time, but when he had at last finished, he felt much better, and stepped back into the storm to admire his handiwork. Whispering the words he had written aloud, nodding his head, and feeling that he was now ready to slip away, if that's how it must be. Finally, he placed the spent lantern prominently on the path, its handle tilted towards the tree where his message was written, in the hope that whoever found it would look in the right direction, and turned back down the river once more. This time he hardly noticed the steep descent, so determined was he to get the difficult crossing over with. Out onto the snowy ice he went, his paws slipping and sliding under him as the wind, clear of the trees and bushes of the bank, came at him in an unimpeded rush. His snout ached with cold, his eyes ran, his flanks shivered, but on he went. He peered ahead at each step, testing the ice carefully before putting his full weight on it, always checking back to see where he was, and that, if need be, he could scramble back to safety. But it was hard to see, what with the swirling, driving snow and the cold, and he would feel better if he could only catch a glimpse of the bank on the other side. Even better if he could see the welcome sight of the rat himself standing there waving to him. As if in answer to his wish, the wind dropped, and for a moment he could see the way clear ahead, right across to the other side. Why, it seemed hardly any distance at all. He could almost reach out and touch it, and then for the first time the mole forgot to look carefully at the way ahead. The first warning he had that something was wrong was that the ice, so solid till then, trembled and shifted so that the world about him wobbled. The next was that he heard a new sound, the dull, relentless roar of water just in front. The last and final warning, and by then it was far too late, was a loud crack somewhere just behind him. Desperately he tried to turn back the way he had come, his back paws sliding away from him as he did so. As he fell on his face, he reached out for something solid and saw to his horror that where there had once been ice, there was now a black chasm, and that the ice he was on was moving and wobbling more and more. As it tilted beneath him, he felt himself sliding towards the water. He tried to clamber up the ice and right it, but as he did so, it suddenly tilted the other way, and he found himself slipping unstoppably towards the implacable black race of the water itself. "Help!" he cried, the terrified mole. Oh my, help!" But this final cry was all in vain. It seemed the night turned blacker still, and then deathly silent. The wind gone, the snow no more, as the cold confusion of icy water was suddenly all about him. Below, to right, to left, and he was swept off downstream into the night, clutching at a floe of ice. Where the mole had been, nothing was left but the night, the blizzard wind, the river flowing past broken ice, and the first bleak gleams of a winter dawn, shining on a little painted notice on the side of the bank which the mole had so bravely been trying to reach. "Rat's house," it said, but no light was there. No rat, no welcome at all, only the rattle and rasp of old brambles against each other and the triumphant howl of the wind. The end. Did he just get, like, washed away? I'm worried. Thanks for listening. Ugh. I am intrigued. Okay. Happy Monday. Oh, Patrick, I'm so glad you caught this. Really like the lighting of the room. That's cool. Are you serious? The lighting to your VR you can have a VR meditation room. That's a thing. Thanks for reading. No, thanks for listening. Seriously. It's a good book. It's a good book. I can tell. I don't know though. Portly is so cute. But I'm like, is Rat in trouble, or is Otter in trouble, or is anyone in trouble? And now Mole's in trouble. Anyway, right off the bat, that's so cool though. I love my lighting. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have some LEDs, like these not like the strips. I just have like these like fun ones. Like, I have a mushroom LED and a balloon animal and a flower, and I feel like I have another one. Whatever. And I have this like space projector, like it projects on your ceiling and your walls. I never use it, or it's not space, it's like water, like an aquatic, and you can do like any color, so I guess that's kind of LED, but I never use it. I saw that there's a movie for Wind in the Willows. Which I'm not. We wanted a space to meditate and have room scale VR to relax and manifest. That's cool. Yeah, I think the Christmas tree, or the tree, is the best source of lighting, like for just low-key mood. And then I never really use, I got this tiny, I feel like this lamp is cute just for read alouds, because I'm just reading by my lamp. No. I never really use like the big lights in my room ever, unless I'm like cleaning, but I firmly will always love Christmas lights as a source of lighting, because they're not harsh on my eyes at all. So like comparing to big lights, like this lamp kills me compared to the tree. So I'm gonna do the tree more often. But I feel like when I have a house, I'm gonna line my kitchen with Christmas lights and just always have that on, and not the actual kitchen lights. But that's probably a definite thing. Yeah, that's probably gonna be a thing. Honestly, every room is probably gonna have some kind of source of Christmas light somewhere in the room. Because it doesn't have to be like it's lining something. Like, the way I have my Christmas lights on my bed is so cute, actually. I love it, because my bed has like posts. So I like wrapped the Christmas lights around the two posts, and then they like connect in the middle, and I just think it's so cute. But it's like way less harsh than having my lamp on next to my bed. So show us. Yes, I will. Do you have a vision board? A vision board? Like, just for life in general? How do you make one of those? No. I mean, I don't think so. Like, in the next 5 years, I would like to be a homeowner, but... And one day I know I'm gonna have a daughter, and that's all I know. I think so anyway, because I had this vivid dream of my daughter, and I know it was her, and it felt so real that I can still vividly picture it. That was years ago. And I'm just like, yeah, I've seen my daughter. I know she's going to exist. I'm just so sure about it. but I don't have a vision board. I use Philips hue lights. What are those? In each corner of the room. I'm so curious. Oh, wait. Are those like the, oh. That's cool. In just each corner? That's pretty cool. Hang on. Look it up and try it. Just look up a vision board, because I feel like you can have vision boards for different things, right? Oh. Oh. Yeah, like, I love that idea. I've totally seen this before that people do, but I don't think I could make one. I don't even know what my dreams are. I mean, but even if I did, like, okay, so it's only because, I don't know, like, I don't know, I've recently realized about myself, I am not good at, it doesn't come naturally to me thinking outside of the box, which sounds bad, but it's just, you know, it's just how I am. I just don't think I'm an outside of the box thinker. So, like, I need actual instructions. I need clear instructions on what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just say put anything you want on it, that's like way too many options. Like, I need you to give me a pile of pictures that I can choose from to make a collage. Like, I don't know where, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know where I would even begin to try and find pictures to put on a collage. Like, I obviously know Google is a thing, and I have seen people make these for themselves, and I think it's a really cool idea. Seriously. I bet it is really motivational, but I don't even know how I'd begin to start making one. I like to live too spontaneous. Like, of course I have a list of things I hope I can accomplish before my life is over. Of course. But, like, I could give you a whole list right now. I just, like, I don't know how I'd actually sit down and make a collage of it because, like, I think too much. I think it's because I'm an overthinker. I think that's the core of it. Because I'm like, I know I want to own a house, but then I'm going to think way too much about, like, what picture to use for that dream or goal or whatever, and it's like you're thinking about it too much, man. Like, it's not that deep. But yeah, I'd be down to try though. Like, if I got with somebody so we could, like, make our vision boards together, it'd be more fun. I don't know. I need, like, someone to do it with or someone to tell me how to do it. Or both. I don't know. But, no, I really want to own a house. Like, my own house. And then everyone wants to be financially independent, self-sufficient. That's a thing. But also, I just want to be able to own my own house, tell people when they can be there and not be there, and decorate it how I want with no one telling me I can't. And that sounds dumb, but it's not. When you've lived 27 years and everyone in your life has always told you, you know, or, like, held you back from your, like, your style and your creative whatevers, then it's like, no, I want my own space. And then, yeah, I want a house. So, and I want to own my, like, whatever pets and animals that I want to own without, without people, like, making me feel bad about it. I don't know. So, yeah, house for sure. But also, like, I want everything. It goes with the financial part of it, but I want everything in my life to be paid off so that I can just be as, like, as spontaneous or generous or, like, open-handed with my money as I possibly can be. That would be so cool. If I could be in a position where, like, I don't know, my sister needs help with her car taxes, or shit, like, even my brother needs a new car or something like that, or like literally anything, I don't know, then I'm just like, it's not a problem for me. I don't have to overthink it. I can just act on my heart and be like, yeah, I got you, like, pay me back when you can, whatever. That would be so cool. So that's a goal. But also I want to learn how to play piano really bad. I really want to learn how to play piano. And I want to take voice lessons just for fun, just to see, like, if I even have any potential with that. And then I want to have a podcast one day. I feel like that'd be fun. And I want to teach a craft class. Like, kids or adults. I think it'd be so fun teaching a craft class. I would do that. Like, I think that's like a retirement goal. That's like a thing to keep me busy and happy and social. When I'm old, I teach a craft class. Oh, going with the singing. Like, if I took voice lessons and they were like, yeah, then I would want to join a choir. That would be so cool. I love singing, like, hymns and, like, I don't know, that type of music. That'd be so fun, I think. Yeah, more free to travel, give, yeah, choose, yeah, exactly. I want to be a gamer, like a streamer. That was going fine last year for a bit, but I want to get, like, actual with it. Like, I get my house, and then my next, like, money thing would be to build my own computer and have, like, the dream setup, and then, like, actually be a gamer streamer, because right now my laptop is shit. I know, but my laptop won't let me game right now, so I feel like it's not a thing right now. It's sad. But anyway, I enjoy your singing. That's so nice. That's cool. Yeah, I've been told that by some people, so I'm just curious to find out. I missed one. Hold on. Oh, I mean, okay. I feel like it just goes without saying. My, like, top thing is all about family. So, like, having the strongest relationships with my immediate family as possible, at, like, as strong as I can get them. That'd be great. As my siblings get older, I want to stay as close with them, if not closer, because they're young right now, but they're getting older. And then making my own family, I guess, is gonna always be a dream. I will only accept it if it's, like, right for me, though. Like, I don't want to marry the wrong person or have kids with the wrong person or have kids when I'm not ready to have kids or that sort of junk. So I love the idea of having a loving, supportive partner in life. That'd be amazing. I can't wait for that when that happens, if it's supposed to happen for me. But I'm willing to wait. I'm patient because, you gotta wait for the right one. But once it happens, I don't know, that whole idea, I've always, like, been so excited for the future when I'm finally married and I have kids, and just that whole thing. Like, having my own family would be cool. But yeah. No. Let me put it this way. Currently, as of right now, I don't But you know, God works in mysterious ways and all that. Like, he could reveal to me later on that someone I've known this whole time is the one. But as of right now, with my eyes, I have not detected anyone in my life currently that would be a candidate for that. Because it's just gonna, like, at my age, I know it's like, you don't want to waste time, but because I've gotten to this age and I'm single, I'm taking my time. Like, I don't want to rush into anything. Like, I know based on past experiences, like, you should not rush into things with all that. So I am taking my time, and I would need to get to know someone a lot before even considering dating them, let alone marrying them, let alone raising children with them. So yeah, so as of right now, I don't really see anyone that I know well enough that I'd be interested in, like, getting to know with all that in mind. If that makes sense. Like, obviously I know some great guys and girls, but I just don't see, like, potential of, like, oh, I should keep getting to know him because I could see potential in the future with him. Like, I don't see a sliver of that with anyone that I know right now. But you never know. Like, it could be like, I don't know, he works so quickly sometimes. It's like, oh, I never would have, like, thought I would have seen that person in that light, but then, like, a few years go by and now all of a sudden they're all you can think about. Crazy to think about. But anyway, yeah, all that to say, can't wait for the idea of having my own family, but it might be a while. It's okay. No, no, no. I'm sorry. No, not right now. But, like, I don't know, things change, right? I don't know. I've always been like, no, definitely not. Because I know, so here's the thing. I suppose money can fix this, but, like, I know that I want my own child. I don't want to adopt. So, also, this is such a touchy subject, actually. I don't know how to. I might just discuss this with you later, Oscar, because you're actually my friend. If that's okay with you. Patrick, it was really fun too. I'm glad I got to see you. Have a good night. Also, oh, you're not on Discord. I want to see your vision board. But anyway, hard to say. It's hard to say. I'm a very, I'll just be honest because I'm all about honesty. And then I do have to get off. But everything, yeah. No, I'm just gonna be honest because I think this is relatable as a believer, like a Christian. A Christian. I struggle with that word. I'm sorry. I just say as a believer. As a believer who is queer, I have always struggled with, like, is it even possible to be both? You know, and, like, I still struggle with that because it is what I am, who I am. They both are. So if it's impossible, then I'm like a walking exception because I am both. So I know that God loves me, and I know that he does not hate anyone, let alone queer people. And I know that he wants a relationship with all of us. So yeah. And the way that I've, processed my identity and things, I know fully that I am attracted to women and men. But I also have basically, I think I've decided, I can't remember. don't remember the right word I used for it, but it's just like I'm attracted to women, but I'm not interested in a marriage with one. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. I can't really explain it. I just know that as far as it goes with a life partner, I would want to be with the right man. And you know, God works in crazy ways, so he might have a woman intended for me. I don't know. But it is a matter of the heart. It really is. Everything God does, I swear, is a matter of the heart. So if a man or a woman happens to enter my life and I have an insane connection with them, it's going to be hard not to feel like this is meant to happen. But, excuse me, but while we wait for that person to enter my life, I am really focused on getting closer with God so that I'm more in tune with Him. When He does want to show me something or tell me something, I am a lot more open to hearing it and seeing it. So that way it's a lot easier to tell, okay, this is like just my own selfish desire, or it's actually something God wants for me. We'll just have to see. But I know when I meet someone and they also are with God, I can just feel it. So I feel like it'll be that like connection, but also the feeling that we have that in common. And I don't know. I just think that'll be strong. But we'll have to see. Makes sense. Wouldn't want to block your blessing. What you mean? What you mean? He's in front of you. Oh, that's nice. I think. Darren? I don't know what you mean by he's in front of you, but thank you. Like I'm following him? That's kind of cool. I'm like thinking about it. Okay. But yeah, that's kind of where I am with all that. So. Yeah. 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 And I think I've just like been, I'm so out of breath. I think I've just been, like I've dated so many of the wrong person. I've learned a lot of different lessons from each one and been through a lot, and my standards raised a lot more since then and stuff, and I've actually gained self-respect. So now I feel like when someone does come along that I'm like, oh, you know, like I feel different from them. I have a lot of hope in myself that I will be a lot more cautious and like not let myself get easily, what's the word? Get carried away. Yeah. With like feelings and things, like, 'cause my heart is so big. It's really hard. It's actually so hard. But like when you combine getting carried away with your feelings and no self-respect, it's really bad. Now I have some self-respect, so I actually feel hopeful that I would not let myself down again. But we'll have to see. He's only tested me like once since my last breakup, and I did get carried away really fast, and I mean, I'm thankful that it didn't go further than it did, and very thankful. And that was like that was a test. Like, it was like, I did not handle that very well. And like, I don't know, it was just like, it made me even more self-aware and stuff. It was pretty cool. But I think that scene where dating in the darkness is... Yep. For sure. Definitely. No, that's actually so real. That's kind of why I'm like obsessed with I don't know. Like, I've basically convinced myself my standards aren't that high. If you're a person of value, no offense if you're not, but like the way that I have so many like thoughts and things to talk about and things to offer other than my appearance, you know. It's not that hard to hold a conversation with me. I feel like. I mean, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Like, if you're actually interested in me as a person, you should have an infinite amount of, like, things you can talk with me about or ask me about to get to know me. So it's like, no, we don't need to be alone in a room together to have quality time together. Like, we can be on the phone and talk. Not about sex or suggestive things, like real things. It shouldn't be hard. If it is hard, that's kind of like my initial, yeah, I'm not interested in you like that. You know, like, if it's only been 24 hours and you're already like, what do we talk about? I'm like, okay. I'm so sorry. Like, and I totally understand, like, not every woman is like that, and a lot of women are standoffish and, like, hard to talk to and don't open up easily and stuff, but, like, now, we're not all the same, and I just am saying that I'm not like that, so, I don't know. Once you realize that about me, which is pretty, like, immediate, like, first conversation, you should be able to tell, because I'm so dang friendly and open that, like, we could talk about anything, and it'd be so nice. I just can't wait for when the right one comes along and they have that first conversation with me, and just from that, because they're thoughtful enough to notice she's cool. I want to keep talking with her. She keeps saying cool stuff that I'm not expecting, and, like, I don't know. That's just gonna feel so much better than, like, a dude that wants to kiss me or something. Like, I don't know. But anyway, should be able to, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nonverbal communication is, like, so cool. But yeah, I rant a lot, I know, but I don't know. It'll happen. And I mean, like, since the breakup, I keep saying the breakup, like, it was so traumatic, but I mean, it was sad. But it's been over a year that I've been single and celibate and all that. Since then, I have had a couple people that seemed awesome, and kind of, like, checked all the boxes I just said, but there was like a hard to identify factor about them that was just like, you're great, you're great. I just can't explain. I'm not attracted to you, though. I'm so sorry. Like, and that's like a hard, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just not feeling what I feel like I should be feeling. And maybe that's just because I'm not ready to date yet, but, like, and then some of them, I waited, I trusted, like, yeah, there's just something not right. And I waited and I found out. And then I was able to identify, like, oh, that's what's not right about you. Got it. You know, and then I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't force it. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't force it. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like, and I get, like, you guys, y'all are my friends, but, like, you know, we get, like, a stray viewer come in and they're like, can we be friends? And I'm just like, yeah, but it's like this thing that's hard to explain, that's like an organic factor that you can't force. If you try to force it, you're forcing it to do the opposite of what you want. You can't force it in the way you want it to go. It's organic. You have to organically become friends naturally. And if that doesn't happen, we're not compatible as friends. I'm so sorry. Same with dating. Like, we could be great friends. But as soon as I start encouraging, as soon as I start entertaining the thought of dating you, it's like, no, like, great friend, but like, yeah, I wouldn't want to date him. Really hard to explain why, though. Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the way I use organic, effortless. It's like, I don't know, it just happened. Because I almost want to say magic. But it's just because me, this specific person, and that specific person happened to meet, and we just happened to be the best. And I like can't explain why. And it's like, bro, that just made me think of like when you are dating someone or you're getting to know someone and you start telling your family that you're considering dating them or we started dating, they do not understand how you have a connection because, well, one, they haven't spent half as much time with them as you have, but two, like, if you were able to record every second you've spent with that person and show them each interaction you've had with them, they might be able to start to see, oh, I can see the connection between y'all. But they don't. They haven't seen all those seconds and moments together. So you have to somehow verbalize and explain how you have a connection with that person. But like, how are you supposed to verbalize those organic moments that just happen naturally and they literally just feel like magic? If you try to say that to your family, they'd think you sound like a naive little child, and you're just like, I don't know, man, he makes me laugh. Like, I don't know, man, I can talk to him about anything. How do I explain? But it doesn't matter, it's just like, you know in your heart, like, I don't know, he just makes me happy. Yeah. The last one, my family loved my last boyfriend, but my one sister was like, there's something wrong about him. No, I don't think she said wrong. I think she just was like, I don't think he, I think she said, I don't think he respects you the way you should be respected or treats you the way you should be treated. I don't remember. Like, he wasn't bad at all. But how did I start that? Oh, but like, I remember like the first thing I said about him to them was like, I love how respectful he is to like all people. It's like actually so admirable, and it just made me like leagues more attracted to him. When I started realizing, like, the more I spent time with him, I was like, we've covered so many different people groups and like men and women and children and different religions and like all this stuff, and he's so respectful to everyone. And I just was like, the more I realized that about him, like the more attractive he gets. I don't know. But that was like the first thing I like told them about him. And it wasn't just like, I don't know, he makes me happy, he makes me smile. It was just like, he genuinely, like, I can see he has a good heart. And that was like a really good reason for me. But should be able to fall into that honeymoon phase after the talking stage. I don't like the term honeymoon phase. I don't want it to be a phase. I want it to stay forever. Which might be unrealistic, but I don't think so. I've seen like 60-year-old couples that still are like really physically affectionate with each other and like no shame about their love, and it's so nice. I don't know, I want that. I hope I get that. That's a blessing. If you get to stay in the honeymoon phase forever together, like before and after having kids, and like I don't know. That's a dream. Let's put that on the vision board. It is possible. I've seen it, but I hope that happens. Yeah. But if it doesn't, I'll just live with my bunnies and my guinea pigs and my pit bull and my cats and my snakes and my butterflies. And my family. I have a big ass family. We'll be fine. If I really had to, I could adopt. No, I'd foster. Foster would be great. If I was just like forever alone, I'd totally foster. The zoo. The zoo. I don't know, man. I can't decide because guinea pigs are the best, but you have to have 2 at least. Bunnies are the absolute best, but you have to have an insane home for them set up all around your house. I want a pit bull. That's a must. It's happening. Snakes are just so cool. I just want to have a snake that likes me and just wants to stay wrapped around my wrist while I cook dinner and do all my stuff and work from home and stuff. And then cat. You gotta have a cat because cats are just like they're just like an omnipresent energy around the house. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, it's fine. I think I just feel a lot less anxious about the future. Like, whatever happens, I'm pretty confident it's supposed to happen. So, whether it's being alone or no, I can make it work. We'll get a house. That's the first goal. And then whatever happens, I have a house. And like another big reason I really want a house is to offer like a safe space to my siblings whenever they need it. So that's a big one. That's why it's the first goal. But what? An AI? What? Wait, what did I say? An owl? Does it say owl or AI? Owl's Toy Barn. I'm trying to think of if it's owl. I don't know what the reference is. If it's AI, I don't know. Oh, yeah, no, I think I'll stay away from all that, but yeah, that's okay. I'd like, no. We were just talking about organic. In a different sense, I would like to stick to the organic side of things. Yeah, that's okay. That's dumb. No. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Not shaming anyone, but like I come on stream and I'm like, hey guys, meet my new boyfriend. And he's like, hello. That'll be, instead of Build-A-Bear, we build a... That's dumb. No. And you guys are like, Sunny, are you okay? And be like, what? Yeah, I just have this new... I'm so happy. We like have such a connection. A network connection. Okay, I need to stop. Okay. I'm gonna get a new charger tomorrow because my phone is about to die. So, but now we know my phone battery can last 2 hours on stream. Weird. Thanks for listening. I'm so glad we're on this book. We gotta figure out what to read next. Go charge your phone. Okay. Yes, thanks for listening. I think I am busy tomorrow. Possibly busy Wednesday. If I'm not, I want to do a read aloud. I want to do a movie night Wednesday, so we'll have to see about that. Thursday, I'll probably do an art stream. Yep. And then the weekend is crazy for me, so we have a birthday, a graduation, and a baptism all in one weekend, so we gotta figure that out. But anyway, yeah, join my Discord if you want updates on when I'm going live again, but otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Love you guys. Mwah.